The Yorks like to act like they turned the 49ers from a lemonade stand into a Fortune 500 company, even though they inherited 5 Lombardi trophies and haven't won any on their own. They also inherited a few other things. They inherited a franchise quarterback in Jeff Garcia. They took over the team in 2000. He was the quarterback. They also inherited a vice president who found that franchise quarterback, Jeff Garcia. The vice president's name was Bill Walsh. And the first thing the Yorks did, essentially, when they took over the team was push out Bill Walsh. They took him from vice president and made him a consultant and essentially replaced him with Parag Marathe. And the thinking was, well, Parag's a little younger. He has a better feel for the salary cap. He has a better feel for putting a roster together, given the new constraints of the CBA and the salary cap, yada, yada, yada. And there's some truth to that, right? The Niners were in salary cap hell, and Parag Marathe has done a good job keeping the Niners out of salary cap hell and giving them flexibility. But it was Bill Walsh. And Bill Walsh, one thing he could do was find franchise quarterbacks because he had an eye for it. It's really difficult to do. Most people can't do it. It's an art, finding franchise quarterbacks. This guy coached against Jeff Garcia in college when Walsh was at Stanford and Garcia was at San Jose State, remembered him, saw him playing in the Canadian Football League, brought him in like for nothing. No one else in the organization saw it. So you got rid of like the quarterback, not just the quarterback whisperer, the greatest quarterback scout in the history of the world was on the 49ers. The Yorks inherited him. They pushed him out immediately and replaced him with a guy who never coached. You know, a spreadsheet enthusiast, someone who could really use Microsoft Excel well. And since then, the 49ers have had 17 starting quarterbacks, and none of them have gone to a Pro Bowl on the 49ers. Pushed out Bill Walsh, the guy who could find the quarterbacks. You pushed out Jeff Garcia after 3 straight Pro Bowl seasons, 2000, 2001, 2002. Never missed a game, went to 3 straight Pro Bowls. 2003 has a semi-down season. Misses 3 games. Niners missed the playoffs. They release Jeff Garcia. So he's gone. Walsh is gone. And then now, there's been 20 years of no Pro Bowl quarterbacks. Here's the full list of quarterbacks the Yorks have brought in, who have started since they released Jeff Garcia. And remember, Bill Walsh brought in none of these quarterbacks. They pushed him out because Parag Marathe is smarter. Tim Rattay, Ken Dorsey, Alex Smith, Cody Pickett, Trent Dilfer, Sean Hill, Chris Winkie, JT O'Sullivan, Troy Smith, Colin Kaepernick, Blaine Gabbert, Brian Hoyer, CJ Beathard, Jimmy Garoppolo, Nick Mullins, Trey Lance, and Brock Purdy. No other team in the NFL has as bad of a list of quarterbacks as the one I just read. That's awful. Even the Cleveland Browns have a Pro Bowl quarterback in the last 20 years. So the Niners can brag about having a new stadium. They can brag about having a few division championships, a couple conference championships. They can brag about whatever they want to brag about, but this quarterback list is shameful. And frankly, they don't seem any closer to finding one. Right now, they don't have a starting quarterback. They have a quarterback room. They have 3 guys. They have like a 3-way competition for a starting job. And they're telling us this is the way to find a franchise quarterback. This is a franchise that's never found a franchise quarterback. The DeBartolos did because they had Bill Walsh. The Yorks came in and they're like, the first thing we need to do is get rid of Bill Walsh. We're going to find these quarterbacks on our own. 20 years later, they haven't found one, and they're no closer to finding one. And look, maybe Brock Purdy or Trey Lance or Sam Darnold will become the first franchise quarterback the Yorks have found since they've owned a football team. It's absolutely possible. I'm not writing them off. I'm just talking about from the Yorks' perspective, looking at their track record, the odds are that none of those 3 quarterbacks are a franchise quarterback. Nothing against them, just the Yorks' track record. They couldn't find one if they had 50 years to look. So here's the moral of the story. If you have someone in your organization who can find good quarterbacks, you never, ever, ever, ever let him go. And if you don't have that person in your organization, you always got to keep looking for him. Doesn't matter if you have a great defense or a great running game or a great scheme. Until you have a franchise quarterback, it's all a waste of time. It feels like the Yorks have wasted our last 20 years And I'm sorry if you still root for this team, because I stopped rooting a long time ago. Mostly because of them. Also because I'm a journalist and you can't have that.